I think the obvious question, can you tell us a little bit about what it was about this character and the journey this family goes on that most resonated with you as a storyteller when you read it?
It's more of like what didn't resonate with me, because there wasn't one aspect of Yi that I didn't feel weirdly connected to in like a very serendipitous way. The minute I met with them about the movie, I called my agents and I was like, if I don't get that movie, I should quit acting, because I feel like I was meant to do this part and kind of narrate the story and make sure that it's, as authentic as possible. And Jill is incredible. Really, this is her love story to all of the little tomboys out there and all of the curious and stubborn little girls who don't just want their life to be about finding a Prince Charming. It's about, finding themselves, and that's ultimately what the movie's about.
What spoke to me as an actor was, well, first of all, I've never done anything in the animated space before. I think that's what they call it in Hollywood terms, the animated space. And I'd never done that before, and it was so nerve-wracking because you're not actually acting with anyone. You're reading in there with the director, and I never got to meet Eddie Izzard, who most of my scenes are with. So that's a really wild thing. When you're acting with another actor, you are looking into their face, and unless you're doing Jurassic Park and you're looking at a bunch of tennis balls as pterodactyls or something, which does happen as well. So I wanted to do it because it was something I had never done before, and I thought it might be interesting. And then I loved Jill. I thought she was such a wonderful woman, and they had written such a beautiful, heartwarming, uplifting story that's very empowering for women and for young girls. And I certainly wanted to be part of something that had that message.
On that note, how important was it for you that Chloe's character, she's not an archetypal princess character in that sense?
Well, I think any time you can depict a young girl as she is, without having to be a princess or without dreaming of being a princess, I think you're at a very good starting point, and it's a lot more relatable. And I think it keeps our young girls' headspace in the right place, which is not the typical desire that is often depicted in movies since the dawn of filmmaking, really, where women were their stories were always sort of connected to that of the protagonist, which was usually the man. And a lot of cartoons and wonderful Disney movies often have a lot of young women in distress, needing to be saved or rescued traditionally by a man, and that's not the case in this one, and I think that's pretty special.
In terms of special things, obviously we're celebrating here at TIFF the fact that this year an even higher percentage of films than in previous years are being directed and helmed by women. How important do you think that kind of narrative control is, particularly when you've got stories like this that deal very much with the female experience, mothers, daughters, coming of age?
I think, everything starts at the top in whatever environment you're working in. So if you have a story about women, one would imagine it would be really of paramount importance to have a woman at the helm and a woman behind the camera. And the more we have that reality present, the more you'll be seeing very authentic stories told through the eyes and the lens of other women's experiences, not a man's experience of a woman. So I think it's extraordinarily important, and I'm very pleased to hear that the numbers are starting to shift a bit. Yeah.
So I play PENG, and he's this carefree, fun-loving, energetic kid who grew up with Yi and PENG, and they've just become this trio, almost like brother and sister. And when they meet Everest, the Yeti, he really bonds with him and becomes sort of like brothers and best friends with the Yeti. They love playing and fighting in this adventure, kind of horsing around in this adventure that they take all across China.
I mean, there's a lot of fun, there's a lot of adventure. What do you think the real heart of this story is, though? What do you think it's going to say to an audience?
Well, I feel like the heart of the movie is about family and friends and how far you're willing to go for your family and friends, and that your family not only is the family you're born with, but the family that you choose, as we see with Yi, Jin, PENG, and Everest as they bond to become their own little family. Yeah.
In terms of the family you were a part of, voice-wise, how much interaction did you get to have in the sound booth with the rest of the cast?
Well, actually, we only recently, earlier this year, I recorded with Chloe and Tenzing, who play Yi and Jin. Before, I had recorded mostly in the booth with our wonderful director, Jill. So we didn't have much interaction before that, but we definitely have bonded to become such best friends. It's just like a big family in the cast, yeah.
In terms of Chloe, can you talk about what makes her such a very special talent?
Well, I feel like she can really bring the emotion, but also the versatility in her voice to Yi. And also, she has said before in interviews and just privately that she really relates to Yi. So I think that's super special that we have an actress that's playing Yi that really relates to her. Yeah.
Is there a particular scene, a particular sequence in the film that you're most excited for audiences to see here at TIFF and beyond?
Well, there's a couple of sequences. Most of them we see clips of in the trailer that I really love. I really love the blueberry sequence when it's raining blueberries. That's one of my favorite sequences, and it's hilarious. Also, the one at the Leishan Buddha is beautiful, and the one where we are riding clouds, where we're riding the cloud koi fish. That one's also just gorgeous and has amazing music.
I play Yi's mother, and you meet me at the beginning of the film, and my husband has passed away, Yi's father is gone, and you see sort of the struggle that Yi is dealing with in trying to deal with those emotions of having lost her father and hiding that from her family, and that sort of sparks her journey to bring Everest home.
I think this is obviously a fun, action-packed adventure, but there's also a lot of symbolism and a lot of emotional subtext to it. Can you talk a little bit about, as a storyteller, what most connected with you when you read the script?
Honestly, it's the relationships between Yi and my character, her mother. They're very similar to my relationship with my own mother. And you have that fine balance of wanting to deal with everything yourself and being confident, but then realizing that it's important to actually rely on your family. They are your rock.
I think I'm just checking if they need you for the group shot. They might. Okay. Sorry. We're trying to false alarm. And obviously, it's an embarrassment of riches with this voice cast. Can you talk about the extent to which you got to share time with them and what we can expect from those performances?
Well, first of all, the cast is incredible and the performances are really incredible. Unfortunately, as with voiceover often, I was alone for most of it, and I got to meet them after the fact. But everybody is in for a treat. They're all really, really talented.
Well, I think obviously I was excited about just creating a mythology for the Yeti. That was amazing. But the story is so much about family and reuniting, and I'm very family oriented. It's something that means a lot to me is family, and I think it was something that just excited me to dive into that and tell a big adventure that was filled with emotion that was all about reconnecting with your family.
Can you talk a little bit about the co-directing process?
Yeah, well, with co-directing, I guess everybody defines it different. I think just in our particular thing, Jill and I go way back. We've worked together for over 20 years in varying ways, and it just kind of, for us, we kind of went into everything together. We didn't really do the divide and conquer thing because we just felt like we're making one movie here, and we just went into it together as partners, and just that's kind of the way we approached it. And because we were moving fast, and you don't want anything to slip through the cracks, so it was nice to have two of us there. And Jill was a great leader for it.
It's nice to have an amazing voice cast as well. Can you talk particularly about Chloe and the unique qualities that she brings to this performance?
Yeah, well, Chloe's great just because she's so unpredictable and she's just naturally so charming, and she brought that charm to Yi's character because Yi's so fun and unpredictable and full of just full of life, and that's Chloe, and she brought all that to it.
You just talk about the visual character of the story, because obviously, it's very beautiful to look at and also culturally significant.
Yeah, I mean, to be able to have the movie set in this location and travel across China, which is pretty gorgeous to begin with, and to be able to create a kind of romanticized version of that and have these kids who have never left the city and see it through their eyes, and see from the Leishan Buddha to the Yellow Mountain all the way to the Himalayas. It's really, it was pretty amazing experience to be able to put all that on the screen, and it looks gorgeous.
The heart of this story really is Yi's journey, and she starts the film trying to find herself and where she fits in the world and how to come home emotionally. And she goes on this amazing adventure with this Yeti and is able to really grow and end up in a different place by the end of the film. So it's a really beautiful story.
It's a beautiful voice cast as well. Can you talk a little bit about the very special people we're going to be hearing from in this production?
Absolutely. We are so blessed to have such an amazing, talented voice cast in Chloe Bennet, Tenzing Trainor, Albert Tsai, Tsai Chin, the list goes on and on. We have an embarrassment of riches. And one of the things that we're really, really proud of is that the entire cast are Asian actors portraying Asian roles. And that's pretty pioneering thing. And we know that this is being the first modern day Chinese family featured in a global film. We wanted to make sure we had representation that way as well.
And in terms of the visual charm of the film, can you talk a little bit about the specific inspirations, and for people who haven't seen the film, just the overall look and feel, because there's some beautiful sequences.
Yes. Overall, visually, I think we just really wanted to represent China in an authentic way that was really beautiful. And China has such an embarrassment of riches, of beautiful places. And actually, our only challenge in this film was picking which ones. There were so many, and throughout the course of the development of this film, we had many different places that came and went and came again, and obviously the ones that we ended up with are the ones that stuck. And one of the things philosophically we wanted to do, and Jill Culton, our director, really wanted to do, was showcase places in China that people around the world might not necessarily already know. So, for example, you don't see the Great Wall in the film, but you do see many other wonderful, beautiful places.
You know, I'm really hoping audiences take away some of our main themes, which is that, you know, no matter how hard the journey gets, to never give up. This has been an interesting journey on this film, and I even think for female filmmakers in general, and I think this is a great testament to that theme of just keep going when things get tough and you'll make it.
And in terms of the astonishing voice cast you've got, can we talk particularly about Chloe and the unique qualities she brings to a production like this, and particularly this character?
I could talk about Chloe all day. I think the thing that really resonated and bonded the two of us together was the fact that we both grew up watching princess movies, but we were more tomboys. And so she really embodied this character. She's got a great quality of voice, but not just that. She was so willing to be vulnerable and go to that deep emotional place that every director craves to have in someone. We talk through script pages. We would change the script pages, depending, to really form the character of Yi around her. But her performance is phenomenal in this. I think it's breakout.
Well, there was Jill Culton had sort of a blank slate to create a film, and she chose this idea about a Yeti movie. She will tell you, I'm sure, that it was based on the fact that she's always had these big dogs. And so it evolved into this beautiful story about China that we did in conjunction with our partner, Pearl Studio. So Dreamworks and Pearl worked together, which was an amazing collaboration just because it proved that we can do these things together, and perhaps there's hope, that we can all work together to create something beautiful. And then Jill, of course, is the writer-director on the film. Todd Wilderman is our co-director. And we had this amazing cast. We were committed to casting Asian American actors, and in the roles of these kids and in the roles of the mom and the nai, the grandma. And it just evolved into this amazing story, and it has such emotional heart, and it's funny, and it has magic, and it has music, and so it just evolved into something kind of amazing.
And it's a beautiful collaboration behind the camera. Can you talk a little bit more about the actual story? And I mean, like you say, it sort of symbolizes so many different things, and all of them are wonderful.
Yes. So knowing that we wanted to have a story where the Yeti begins in a big city in China, so that there was this journey movie that was kind of like a journey for our main character as well, Yi, this amazing, independent girl who had become disconnected from her family. She meets this Yeti on her rooftop, and he's the first crack in her armor where she begins to let someone in. Her father has passed away. She's having trouble connecting with others. And so this journey is a way for her to connect with her friends that go on the journey with her, who she also has been disconnected from. And by the end, she and Everstock both given each other something, so that he's back with his family and she can go home and reconnect with her family.
You can just talk to us a little bit briefly about the astonishing voice cast. I mean, you guys always get the best, but I mean, you've done another great selection for us here.
Well, Chloe Bennet she's a superstar. That girl is going places. So we were lucky enough to get her as Yi, our main character. Albert Tsai is our wonderful Peng, who's the young, in for anything kind of character that we have. Tenzing Norgay Trainor, who is actually the grandson of Tenzing Norgay, who was the first guy up on Mount Everest with Hillary, is our Jin, and he is brilliant as well. And then, of course, we're anchored with Tsai Chin, who was in the Joy Luck Club and has done many other things. Michelle Wong, who is our mom. And then we've got Sarah Paulson and Eddie Izzard, who anchor the whole team.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Hey You Guys!
Hey You Guys, huh?
Hey You Guys.
Is that from the Goonies?
It is indeed, yes.
Nice.
Hey